Okay, we're interviewing today Robert L. Bondurant, who now lives in Casper, Wyoming.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We've had a little preview of where he was born and a little bit of history about his town, Parkerton, Wyoming. We thank you so much for doing this for us.
Pleasure.
Now you just keep talking the way you were and we'll have it on tape.
Well, we used to come up here a lot when I was a kid, and my dad worked in that oil field down there. The more money, there wasn't much money to be made up here. My granddad, I think everybody knows, used to freight.
Is your grandfather B.F.?
Yes, B.F.
Okay.
was my father,
Okay.
grandfather. Yes, my goodness, he'd freight clear down to Rock Springs, Cameron, and all that area back here. He used to have
The hotel?
well, these pictures, you'll have to see those, you'll like those, where they had the tents, the teepees, you know, and all that, there by the old homestead up here on Jack Creek there. And, but he would freight groceries and everything, clothing, everything. So they had a store there and did quite well. My grandmother, of course, she was an angel. Everybody loved her. And so she took care of the store, but he was gone an awful lot.
Now, what was her name?
Her name was Ella. Right. Keep thinking Ella Maud, but I'm not sure of that.
Okay.
But anyway, she's just a gal, lovely lady. Everybody loved her. I can remember coming up here when I was a kid, playing out in the yard. We used to sleep upstairs, us kids did. Gosh was up there. One time, I was my two sisters younger than I, and myself. My younger sister hadn't been born yet. And we got chicken pox, I think, and then one time got the measles. But anyway, we slept upstairs. And my granddad was there this one time when I was sick. And in the store, he had a counter. And on this one end of the counter, he had a barrel. Now, this barrel looked like a wine keg. Actually, it's what it was. But it was only, well, it must have been that high, you know, and so big around, but it looked just like a wine keg. And that was lined with a wax paper. And this wax paper was a little heavier, of course, they have nowadays, and only wax on one side. And that was full of old-fashioned chocolates. Yeah, that was what was in that. And I remember when I was when I was sick, and I decided I better get out of bed and go downstairs, which I had a purpose for. Because when I'd go downstairs and I'd catch him down, I'd wait till I could hear him down there. And I'd go down and then he'd give me a chocolate.
Okay, now that was in their hotel.
Yeah, that, well, it wasn't actually a hotel, but yes, they did.
But it was in the old building that's there now.
But yes, they slept some people in there, yes. But they had tents and everything. But yes, that was, and the original post office, there's been quite some discussion there. The original post office, actually, they tried to get that in 1903. And I've got the history of it, and in the papers that I got today, I think you'll find that's when it first started. And years past, when they wanted to get the post office in the outlying places like this, you might have to carry the mail for several years before they would allow that post office to be there and allow certain people to do it. And my grandmother wanted to originally to name the post office area here Pearl, after my dad. His name was Pearl. And but the government would not allow that. They allowed it to be Bondurant, and so that's what it has been for years. And then the gentleman that had the Triangle F ranch, you remember when it was, when the post office was in the Triangle F ranch? Do you remember that by any chance?
Was that when Wallace had it? Was his name Wallace?
It sounds
His
right.
last name?
I think it was. I'm just not sure anymore. But yet, for several years, that was that. And we would still, my aunt and uncle lived in that cabin that is just to the left of the Elkhorn store. See, that Elkhorn store used to not have the cafe in the middle.
Right.
And they used to drive under there, and then the actually worse, had a little square building in there with glass on all four sides, and he sold souvenirs out of that.
Okay.
Yes, I still have a tip of a horn. He's got it flattened out on one side. It says Bondurant.
Oh,
Yeah, and it had a chain on it, and a piece of cord. I still have one of those. But then that was taken away, and they put a Quonset hut in there, and that's where they sold the horseshoes and everything like that. Anything that they had.
There, yeah.
You did never see that, I don't suppose. But yes, we used to come up here, my goodness. Yes, that cabin there, my aunt and uncle, my dad's sister, was there, and they had 3 girls. That was the size of their children, Ellie, Doris, and Pauline. And then they moved. Pauline married Baker, yes, and so they moved, and
Now, Pauline was your aunt?
no, Pauline was my cousin.
Your cousin?
Yes, my aunt was Essie. That was my dad's sister's name, Essie.
Okay.
Yes, and her husband's name was Frank Hansen, and they had the 3 girls. And the Pauline, yeah, she married the Baker boy. And so when they moved, well then later on, excuse me, then they moved up there too. And yeah, it was nice to come up there. We used to come up and spend, well, we used to spend quite a little time up here with Dad.
Up at the Frank place there, up there?
Yes, we just,
It must have been.
well, we always called this God's country. I still do. And I've hunted up there for so many.
She had a great garden, I've heard.
Oh, my goodness. But we used to just, I always remember forever of coming up, and staying with grandpa.
Now, what was your mom's name?
I'm sorry, honey.
What was your mother's name?
Lucille.
Okay.
She spelled that with 1 L.
Okay.
1 L on the back was most of
And
it
what did your
spelled.
father do for a living?
My dad, when he quit ranching and then went to work for the Continental Oil Company because there was more money.
Okay.
And the year, we have pictures. I should get some of those pictures. I have some pictures. I don't know. I've got pictures in boxes that I've got to go through.
We'll get you next time.
But they have, in the wintertime, it was hard to make any money around here. have some pictures of winter kill elk and the snow in the trees real deep, and then this would be the spring and they'd be all swelled up, you know, loaded, legs up like that winter kill. But they used to have that an awful lot.
Yes, they did.
They did. Terrible. But it was always interesting, always interesting. Yes, we had so many friends, and your family, Walden's family. They were so great. And
Okay, you're mistaking Ginger. She is Ginger Rooks. You're thinking she's Pat. So
yes,
okay.
Pat.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
And this is Joy Ufer.
I'm he's
Joy
pleased
works
to
for
meet
our
you.
newspaper.
Yeah.
She's also more professional with the camera, but she's too late, isn't she?
I see. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Oh, Lenny Campbell. He used to wear these cockeyed overalls. Never anything else except a shirt with it, but that was always his dress. He was a nice guy. And they came from the South. And Rita, she was something else. Rita. I used to have to come see when I was hunting. I would have to come over and see her, you know, regardless of if I was staying with Bowlesby, hunted with him. I'd have to go see Rita and Jim and Law, of course. But Rita, she'd get on that phone. Long crank or short crank, and a number of them, that was, of course, your call. But she would listen to on that phone, and some people, of course, you could hear her pick it up. You'd hear a little click, you know. And some people, then they'd get when they'd say, "Hang up, Rita." And if you were on the phone, you'd hear her click. She hung up.
Oh.
But I really enjoyed her. She was so good. And Molly, that Molly was a lot of fun. Yeah, and then the boys come in there. Her nephews, they did, and then one day eventually was foreman of a ranch there by East Staffs. Little Jimmy. Well, we used to have so much fun up here. It was just wonderful, and the people were so great, you know, they always were.
Well, that's what we want to hear, some of your memories.
Oh, my goodness. Some of my memories are something else, and everybody's gone almost, you know.
They are.
Yeah, Jake and everybody. Gosh, so many of them I can't remember their names a lot, you know. That's kind
Now, do you remember where BF and his wife buried, where their cemetery is, where they lost a child?
Yeah, they're buried right here in the Bondurant Cemetery.
Okay.
Yeah, and their children, they had lost a number of children.
I knew they lost one early in life, and so I just. But you are familiar with the cemetery.
Well, they only lost about half a dozen. I think it's in the history that I brought up today. They used to have the spots for.
They still do.
They
still do.
Yes. And, yeah, then my uncle Herschel, he's buried up there. The original the original cemetery was all made out of poles. And it did have the big gate and the elk horns, and that was torn down, and they put the fence up, and then they got the labor. It's real nice. But I think, I don't know what happened to the graves of the little children that died at birth, but there were, yes, there were a number of them. And I saw an article, and I don't know who it was written by, but they said that there was, what the heck was these people's name? Anyway, it said that they had a number of stillbirths, and I often wondered if they got some mixed up with some of the Bondurant ones. I don't know. But yes, they had a number of them. Terrible thing. But yes, Uncle is buried there. We thought that maybe we'd bury my father up here, but my one sister especially said, no, I want him buried down here where I'm going to be. So he was buried there. So my mother was buried there, and my sisters. And so I still have my younger sister yet. And,
Okay.
but when we were down to do the viewing last week, that's when we ran into Dustin, and
Oh.
well, of course I brought back memories right quick, because Lila was very close to Jack for a while, and so we saw Dustin. That was nice too. Yeah. And that's somebody that we really liked, was Molly and Jim. Bazzoni. I suppose they still call that Bazzoni's Ridge, don't they?
They do,
They
and
do?
they still call their house the Bazzoni place. Little Jenny
They
owns
should.
it
They were
now,
there a long time.
but it's known as the Bazzoni place.
Ah, that's great.
Pretty much the same cabin. I don't think they have
Oh, I'll
done
bet.
much to it.
Oh, that's great.
And
Well, we
in
did.
fact, there's a fellow here that manages the Little Jenny, that maybe we can get him to tell you about the Bazzoni place.
Well, we
Here.
did. Oh, I spent a lot of time there.
Okay.
Yes, that, yeah, we really enjoyed that place. So that's where that Jack Parker picture was taken with me.
Okay.
Yes,
Do you have
that
any
was.
questions?
I'm sure thinking.
Well, now
that was just-
that also is where Roy Fisk first spent his time.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is. We interviewed him a year
Oh,
in
did ya?
September, and he mentioned that.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
He
right?
did.
Yes.
Bazzonis, were very favorite people.
Yes,
Yes.
that's true.
They used to rent rooms to workers too, didn't they? Not, it wasn't just tourists, but I met someone over in Idaho in Teton Valley, and I think his name was Cleon Tonks. And he told me that he had stayed there when he drove a bulldozer. He stayed at the Bazzonis, and that they rented rooms out, and I think they were building a road somewhere. Do you remember the road? Is it always gone? Del Creek Road always gone on the way that it does, or did
I
they?
remember that, the road up Del Creek. Whew, I can remember when that was a trail almost. I think, no, I'm not sure. I would always wanted to come back up here and get the figures. Coming off of Jones Drop, the cabin down along the road there, I swear that is my father's old homestead originally. And he sold that to Fister.
It's possible.
And I've got the numbers and everything else of that. I've got the, well, I must have the bill of sale for it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, they call
Yes.
it the Jones Place.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, oh yeah, we used to, oh, we had a lot of fun.
Well, you know, most of the buildings, there are buildings that were up at the end of the road that
Oh,
came down to Little Jenny, and I
Oh,
think.
yeah, up Del Creek?
Mhm.
Yeah, and then
I think one of the Bozzoni houses is over by the main house of the little Jenny. It's kind of a story and a half. It's got an upstairs, little upstairs.
Yeah.
They moved buildings all over the place.
Oh, yes, and Wagstaff, they had that Jenny, the little Jenny. Yes, I was speaking of that cabin down there. That's fine, that was my dad's old homestead. And my uncle had a homestead and way up on let me see now, that was above the old Baker place.
Okay.
Okay, now which uncle was that?
Across the road from
Frank.
Frank's.
Frank's place. Well, now, I believe that the Frank place at one time belonged to my uncle, the one that went, I think he was one that was killed
which
in the service.
which uncle was that?
And, well, I'd have to look in the papers to see, but I don't remember him.
Okay.
He was, he was killed, I think, in World War I, or died anyway during that time, and I don't remember just how it was, whether it was, there were so many of them that died with flu and stuff like that, I don't remember.
Oh, right.
But it
The
seems to me
Spanish
like
flu
that
was
was,
really bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awful.
The
Yeah.
Spanish flu hit in 1920,
1920s, I think so.
yeah, that's, gosh. And once in a great while, I'll have a memory flash back, like on the Baker place and the, what did they call that? Trail, that one trail went back behind
the Indian Trail,
yes, the new trail, yeah. We
Still
used to go
there.
down there a lot, yeah.
still
Yeah, we
there.
worked around there and went up and, used to get a lot of elk up around the slide.
Oh, wow, that's up off
Yeah,
Del
up on
Creek,
Del Creek.
way up.
Mhm. Yeah, all in that area.
And that's
I got
the
so
dirt
tickled
red
that
there, isn't it?
one time when Roy Fisk first came, he liked to take pictures. And so he went out with me a time or two hunting. Well, sometimes we went clear up to Timberline and we used to see the sheep up there and everything.
Wow.
Coming back down one night, I can remember it, I thought it was too dark, but he was taking pictures of everything. I often wondered if they come out. Well, the ones probably took of the moon, and that, he might have got some good ones. I don't know. But some of the stuff I thought maybe a little too dark, but he sure liked to take pictures.
We'll have to ask him if he's got
Yeah,
some.
you'll have
Maybe
to ask him.
someday,
yeah.
He might remember that. Yeah, I used to bring my horses up, and
Okay, now,
but we walked it. Him and I walked that.
what did you do for a living?
When I was young, I would we left the country. We didn't live. Well, although I was born in the company house, it would be the very end of the companies when things were going strong. There were company houses, and they would have maybe 15 or 20 houses in this camp and some more in here, and they were scattered all over this big muddy oil field. But my folks didn't seem to want to stay in the camp. So we bought the place, they bought a place outside there. It's where we could have our animals and that. And then we finally got away from that, the direct area, and got across the Platte River there. There was a railroad track here, and the Platte River come down through, another railroad track here. And anyway, we lived between them. They were, say, a mile apart. And we had a place there, a little bit of land, and so my dad was kind of happy there. My mother was great for gardening and that, so yes, we kind of kept out of the thick of it. But then I was raised, and there was, like I say, a number of us kids. Times were tough. Depression was on, and the prohibition.
Right.
Anyway, as I got larger, then I was always working on a ranch, even when I was real small. And I worked on various ranches. So until I was 20 years old, all I do was punch cows and ride broncs, and that was it. And then when I was, I decided to get into, hopefully get into bigger money and something that was more permanent. And so then I applied for a job at the American Oil. Well, it was Standard Oil then. It had changed names. Now, of course, it's BP, British Petroleum. And but I applied, and I got. I was office boy, and I worked there. Then a few months, and then I went into the service. I applied to get into the Navy and the Air Force, but they would not have me, nor the Marines, because I was colorblind. I passed physicals, I passed everything, but the last thing was the eye test, and that. So I waited. Well, didn't take long till I was on a soldier.
How old were you then?
So I spent several years in the service then, and 3.5 maybe. But anyway, yes, I was in the landing in France. But
Was that a terrible time?
Very emotional for you fellows.
Yeah, it really
And we
was.
certainly,
That's okay.
shouldn't have mentioned it.
Was it the Army?
that's okay.
Mr. Bondurant, was it the Army?
Yeah.
That was the Army, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I got a letter from a number of people did. From the president of France a few years back, thanking us for being in on the landing in Normandy.
Well,
You know, I read that France and I think Belgium were both so overwhelmed to see the American soldiers come in that they still thank the American veterans for their freedom, for saving them.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because
No, well, they were great people.
Without you, they couldn't have held off. So, good job.
Yeah, they were great people. We had a lot of help from them. They were good to us. And yet, I've heard some people, well, they what came last, and I don't know. I'd always thought, but they cussed the French people, and I thought, hey, you weren't there, man.
yeah.
But yeah, that I was in there, and yeah, I'm rather proud of that. And then because of that, the senators they wrote a nice little letter too, thanking us for that.
How long were
Anyway, I
you?
spent several years there, and then I came back, and then I had to go into a men's work, of course, which was fine, because I was over 21 then.
How
And
old?
I worked there till I retired, and worked about 39 years, but in the meantime, I kept my hand in ranching as much as possible, and I did a lot of work. And then after my father passed away, then my mother, several years later, married another big rancher, There were the three brothers, actually, and none of them were married. And one married, he was 64 when he married. And then Mom and Ed were married. He was a nice guy. And then the older was Charlie. He never did marry. He was strictly an old cowboy all the time. I was able to keep my hands in ranching clear up until, well, after my stepfather died. Well, then I finally sold my horses, and that was the end of it. But that's something I always enjoyed, and it was just great. But I always enjoyed coming up here, regardless of the fall, and see these people. And it's just a wonderful place. But my grandfather, he was quite an individual in himself. He was quite an entrepreneur. He wanted his business, and he did make it pay. He died in the Kemmer, or rather, that's where he had his accident. He was visiting some people there, and it was about dark, and he was walking over to the fellow's house to visit. Anyway, they were doing some work in the street, and they had the hole there. And he stepped off of the side, off the boardwalk into that hole and broke a hip. Well, in those days, if you broke a hip, that was the end gate. There was just no way of living, and he was dead in 6 days.
Wow.
Yes, when you broke a hip years ago, that was the end. Yeah, it sure was. And so then my mother, or rather my grandmother, I think the last she had of the post office was like 1926, I think, is when she got rid of it.
Over here.
Right. And, gosh, I've forgotten so much.
Okay, when were you married, and to whom?
When I was married, well, I got married, I've been married a couple times. And
Well, the first marriage.
my first marriage, I married a French girl there in Casper. She come over and as an immigrant, and so anyway, she was working at one of the, I think, Penny's store actually, and my sister was also. Anyway, they were really acquainted, so she used to bring her out in the country there to the folks' place, and so I got tied up with her, but then I moved around, and we have a boy and a girl.
Okay.
My daughter is 60, she'll be 65, she's 64 now, she'll be 65 Halloween.
Oh, and what's her name?
I used to call her Spook, and but when she started school, then I thought, well, I better quit that. So I quit calling her Spook, and she lives in Nebraska, and now she has no children. She was married, and
What's her name?
her name is Bonnie. Well, we call her Bonnie. Well, that's what people called me for years, Bonnie. Yeah.
I'll be darned.
Wando, Bonnie. Well, I was called
You got
Bonnie
called
for
Bondo?
yeah, and yeah, all through that Sergeant Bonnie, Sergeant Bob. Depends on French or here, and Bonnie's name was Roberta Caroline, and Roberta Smith, whatever you want. And then Bob, he's 63 now, just turned 63, and his name is Robert Edward
Edward.
Wait,
Not
Edward.
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 Oh,
Yeah,
Edward.
Edward. Edouard. Edouard, c'est français, it's French.
Yeah.
And then, anyway, I fooled around and lost her, and then later on, danged if I didn't marry another French girl.
Well, you still speak French.
Oh,
You might as well
wait.
marry a French woman.
Right, and oh yeah, we've been over to France. I don't know how many times, both of us. But yeah, so that's where the Bondurant family came from. It's from France,
Oh.
and we went down to Genelec, and that's where Jean-Pierre. Jean is like Jean. And anyway, that's an interesting history. But yeah, we used to go a lot. I used to really enjoy that, going over there, see these people.
So where in France was your family from?
Genelec, it's like in the southern part.
Oh,
And yeah,
because it actually means literally like good stay, doesn't it? What does it mean in French? Bondurant. Bondurant.
oh, well, now there's some question there. Some people, and I don't know where it started at, spelt the name in two parts. Bondurant.
Uh-huh.
Bondurant. And if they want to go that, then that would probably be a good endurance. That's the only thing I know of there. But the original name, Bondurant, I don't know if there was any special name there, but they come
It's
to
an
the
interesting
south
name.
first, and
Is it a
then
French name? Is it French? Bondurant.
and we Bondurant. And this fellow that has the Bondurant driving school, you better say Bondurant when you talk.
Bondurant.
We, yes. Yes.
I know people here, they'll say, oh, do you live in Bondurant? And people will say, no, it's Bondurant. So,
Yes, they know people here that always Bondurant, and so they do. But there's some that insist on that. There's a couple other towns named Bondurant. Well, Bondurant, Iowa is one. I've been there. Okay. And yes, that's. Oh, I've come up here, and this is the country. This is God's country. I'm
Yes, it
telling you.
is.
We kind of think so.
Oh, yes, we just, and some of the old timers, I used to like to go up sometimes, way up on the head of Hoback River, up there where the springs start out. Yeah, that's always, we used to cut across saddle, back on this way. That was always nice.
It's still a beautiful ride.
Yes. And then Bondurant Creek, did you know there was a Bondurant Creek?
yes, Kevin told me.
Yeah, just a small one.
Is it off Cliff Creek or is it on Hoback?
Well, actually,
It,
a good way, I think, go up with
I think
Cliff
it's off.
Creek, I think, and
Yeah.
around that way you can
Right.
get to it easier.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, gosh, I can remember when this place was pretty small, too. Yeah, I often wondered what happened to Katie Brown, and did you know?
I did. Katie and
Yeah.
Al,
Al? Did you?
they were from Kemmer,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both gone, but I actually don't know what happened to them. Do
Last
you?
name?
Brown, Al and Catherine, Kate.
Albert and Catherine or Kate Brown.
Now they still own a little place here in Bondurant.
Well, do they still on that?
Their daughter, Brinos,
Mm-hmm.
lives
Oh,
there
okay.
now,
Yeah.
and she was
No,
Earl Fisher. Was she a Fisher?
Judy?
No, Kate. Young was her maiden name. I'm from Kemmer also. So,
Is that right? Yeah, we did. Yes, my aunt and uncle lived there for years. And my dad's brother and his wife. Yeah, we did.
small world, isn't it?
Yes,
Seems like
sure is.
everybody's
Well,
been
now
thinking
that,
It has.
that's where my granddad was visiting when he
Okay.
got hurt. Okay. Well, oh yeah, they used to. Well, I always wondered, I haven't seen Sister for a while.
I
Sure,
know
he's
they're both
doing all
gone,
right,
but I
but-
don't know what happened to them.
I wonder if Judy would know. Maybe
Kate's
I'll-
brother, Earl, and Edna were twins.
Oh,
But Earl and my brother were raised together, and they were best friends for all their life.
I see. Oh, yes.
Well, I certainly enjoyed visiting with you.
It's been great. Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, I was kind of wanting to remember a lot of stuff that we used to do. Gosh, we used to just.
I was going the wrong way.
When that, we used to fish a lot down there, just above the bridges. Right down there by the Elkhorn. We'd catch, I used to think that's a sucker. Not suckers. But anyway, oh, that,
I had to come and check on him. His wife sent me.
Oh, well, you know,
oh,
I think we're about through. Are you ready to?
well, it's been fun. Yes, yeah, you might check with Roy.
I have,
We'll do it, and you just, we are so thankful.
Oh, yeah,
that
I
you
got
did
a
this.
couple pieces of shrapnel you can take out.